Hello YouTube, I'm back with the next Yu-Gi-Oh review, and today I'm reviewing both the Starter Deck Syrus Truesdale and Starter Deck Jaden Yuki. Starter Deck Jaden Yuki and Starter Deck Syrus Truesdale. And I'm starting with Jaden Yuki, and these were starter decks that were basically aimed at a more. They were modified a bit from the traditional starter decks to make them more kind of akin to the character they went with. In this case, this is Jaden Yuki, and this comes with a foil version of his. See, it was less often used, but it was only made once as a promo for the GX Duel Academy video game, and they made it as an ultra rare here. So it's kind of nice to have a easily accessible reprint. You know, this also includes a lot of cards that are now either banned or getting reprinted somewhere, or getting unbanned to have for their reprint for their errata. But this also includes a nice common version of Blade Edge. That's pretty cool. It's a nice thing, even though if it's not a good card. And this also features foil version of Elemental Hero Bubble Man. Yes, this is actually a foil card. You can kind of sort of tell by the reflectivity on the actual card. This is similar with the Syrus deck, as you'll soon see. There's an interesting thing to note about that. I mean, a lot of the cards are kind of identical in this. I mean, I think both have Magic Cylinder, both have Lightning Vortex, you know, things of that nature. So, I mean, I'd say these are definitely, yeah. I mean, basically, this deck has all of his main Elemental heroes before all the ones he uses for fusions, you know, Persnitrix, Clayman, Sparkman, etc. And both definitely have a copy of Cyberdeck Alligator. And this was actually, I believe, the first print of Cyberdeck Alligator in English. And I'm not so sure it's been reprinted since then. Maybe. But it's kind of sort of beat down. I mean, it just includes a mixture of cards he's used in the anime, as well as cards that kind of benefit being for a starter deck, someone who's just starting out. So I'd recommend these, for sure. They're definitely a good start. Good, you know, I mean, there are no fusions, no synchros, or anything like that. You can just play them right out of the box. Though you're probably not going to win with these, because, obviously, I mean, cards like, there's Giant Trunade in here, which is banned. I don't know if it's ever come off the list in Japan. I don't think it has. Yeah, it's one of the few cards that's actually banned in here. Brain Control is currently banned, but got a reprint it's got an errata in Japan where now it can only grab normal monsters, which means anything that you synchro summon, fusion summon, etc. cannot be used on it. Which is kind of stupid, because it kind of defeats the purpose. I mean, it's going to be a completely useless card to you. Let's see, is there anything else I want to say about this? I did go through it rather quickly. I mean, this is, I'd say, a pretty decent deck. It's a good reprint of Smash and Ground here, so I think both decks have it. I mean, there's some monsters that'll get around Gravity Bind. I mean, some of the monsters aren't all that great. Cybernetic Cyclopean, for example. Not a particularly great card. But I'd say a lot of these are pretty helpful. I mean, it's pretty well structured. So, yeah, that's Jaden Yuki. We'll move on to Syrus Truesdale. And here's the thing I wanted to note about the Syrus Truesdale starter deck. If I can find it in here. Express Droid. Not the fact that it's foil, but the fact that this was the first printing of the card in English. Because at the time this was released, Gladiator's Assault had not yet been released in English. So technically, we actually got the card first. I don't think it was by a whole lot, maybe a month or two. But it's interesting to note. I don't think we've ever had it before or since where we've gotten a card first that was due out in Japan earlier. I mean, I guess technically, yeah, I wouldn't count things like Seal of Orichalcos coming out and the extra pack. So for the most part, that's not, I don't think I'd really count that, considering the fact that this is actually not. I mean, we had it coming first. It was announced for us first, and we did still get that first. Although, this is not from a starter deck. This is not versus a booster set, like Legend of the Blue Eyes White Dragon or anything like that, or in this case, Gladiator's Assault, the one I was kind of bringing up here. Because it's rare. I mean, Express Droid is actually a rare. It's actually somewhat easier to get in here, and here's the other foil card in this. It's a Drillroid, which is not a bad card. It's actually basically attacks any monster in defense mode, it'll destroy it immediately, so if you flip it face down with something like Book of Moon, it'll do very well. Yeah. And yes, Brain Control is in here. A lot of cards that help support. help support certain decks. But of course, includes Heavy Storm. Yep, Heavy Storm is in here. Speaking of Book of Moon, it's actually in here. So there you go. So there's not a whole lot to say that I haven't said in the other one. Yes, Smashing Ground is in here. Bit of Beat Stick. It's a little somewhat more defensive in a way. Because it's got, Poison Mummy, stuff like that. Monsters with higher defense, typically. Reprints that of cards he's actually used, like Submarinoid in here, Gyroid's in here. And, of course, the basic staples that are in the other two, which is Magic Cylinder and Negate Attack. So, I'd recommend these decks if you're going to get them. So, that's my review on the Starter deck Syrus Truesdale and Jaden Yuki.